Breaking news coming out today, July 12th, 2026, as we're hearing that massive attacks have unfolded today. Now, a couple of hours ago, we saw this posted by President Donald Trump with no caption. Just you can see the bombers flying over the Washington Monument on their way. And then we saw massive attacks today unfold in Iran, massive explosions. Major hits that we're hearing are still unfolding, hitting critical sites all throughout Iran. We are hearing today Donald Trump, in a second round of strikes, is blowing up Iran. If you like the sound of that, drop a 47 in the comments. We've heard that he has lost his patience, and we are hearing that things are escalating significantly. Now, in addition to that, take a look at some more headlines that have been coming out from the live feeds. U.S. Iran, they exchange fire as the IRGC claims the Strait of Hormuz closure until end of interference. So the two are still just going back and forth. We are seeing escalation unfold. More live feeds. Middle East Crisis Live. U.S. launches new wave of strikes on Iran. Tehran says the attacks rendered diplomacy futile. In other words, there is no chance we are going to have peace. You're expecting to see this just blow up even further, and we're hearing the United States carrying out the most massive attack we have seen so far tonight, and it is actually still going on. Take a look here. You can see Iran says the latest U.S. strikes have rendered futile recent diplomacy. We're hearing what has unfolded today has been massive. Huge explosions hitting all throughout Iran. Now, this comes as the Iranian supreme leader, he is now pledging there will be revenge for his slain father and predecessor. As I shared with you, he said, we will assassinate Trump. We will assassinate Netanyahu. Even if I die, the freedom fighters, he calls them, or the proxy groups, Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, they will attack. They will avenge the death of my father. He also said they will spill American blood on American soil. There will be attacks in the United States, he has professed. Now, in addition to that, I've also shared with you, speaking of attacks on U.S. soil, we've heard and renewed warnings coming out today as well. Iranian drones. They are in Cuba, a fleet of 300, the size of cars, that could carry tons of explosives into the United States, threaten South Florida. But not only that, we're hearing they have a range to go all the way to hit New York if they so choose. Also, Trump has warned that the U.S. will decimate and destroy Iran over assassination attempts. Now, in addition to that, we've got new details that have come out on an assassination attempt that they believe was plotted in Turkey on his trip there. Israel reportedly warned the U.S. that Iran had devised a new plot to assassinate Trump. The details coming out is that the plane switch might have been due to, but we don't have confirmation yet. The fact that they believe that Iran knows that the new Air Force One plane that Trump was given from Qatari officials, that plane did not have the same capabilities and defense mechanisms that the previous one had, and that when he was to leave Turkey, they believe that there was a plot to blow Trump out of the sky. Now, we're hearing that that's why possibly the switch was made. Now, we're hearing that there's a lot of details coming out on this that make you wonder and speculate. However, Trump is claiming that there was an assassination plot, but he did not say these things specifically. So I just want to clarify. However, there's a lot of information coming out on this, and we're going to be covering the details, and you can let me know your thoughts. Is the U.S. trying to downplay this because this was actually in place? They're saying that there was not a specific threat that they knew of, but I'm going to get you the details, and there's a lot of specific details coming out on this. Did the security scare make Trump switch planes on his way back from NATO summit? They're saying the Iranians were planning to blow him out of the sky on his way back from Turkey. This was the intel that was given, and they're saying that they were aware of the fact that the new plane that they received from Qatar for Donald Trump did not have the same type of defense mechanisms. They're saying that they were planning to assassinate Donald Trump on Air Force One and have it hit. Now we're hearing, though, that is why probably while in Turkey, with that NATO meeting, Trump gave the call and said, go ahead, hit Iran. We saw that unfold. Now we're hearing they're hitting them yet again. Man, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Now, if you appreciate Donald Trump, the administration, the way they're handling things, drop a 47 in the comments yet again, because we're hearing bombs are dropping. Today, Iran is being blown to bits. And we're going to see where this goes from here, because he said there's only about 20% left. He said we might just have to wipe them out. It looks like that's what we're doing right now. Now, I saw somebody in the comments saying that Iran is hitting Jordan right now. And yes, just to clarify, as we speak, attacks are happening left and right. I'm watching the live feeds. We're hearing that the United States is blowing up various portions of Iran. Iran is retaliating back. The U.S. is hitting back. So just to clarify, this has been going on for a while now, a couple of hours. It is still going on live right now as we speak. Now, I'm going to get you caught up on the latest video footage and articles so that way you can see what's coming out. But we're hearing that Iran right now is blowing up. Trump is bombing Iran. And again, if you like the sound of that, I see those 47s pouring in. Keep them coming. Do me a favor, though, before we dive in. I've got a lot of video footage and a lot of articles for you. Do me a favor, take a second, hit the thumbs up, like button. Just takes a moment. I see we got about 3,000 people live with me in the room. We can get that like button up to 1,500, half of the room. If you haven't done so yet, helps out the feed a ton while we're live here on YouTube. In addition to that, if this is your first time here or you join in regularly but have not yet hit that subscribe button, please do so. Why not? It's totally free. I'm keeping you up to speed with daily updates. Actually, this is the second one today. Earlier, I let you know that Iran state media came out and said that they're claiming that Lindsey Graham, who we heard passed away last night, was eliminated by IRGC. We're hearing that they are claiming that he is on the hit list and he was taken off. And next, they're going to be going for other members of the Trump administration, including Donald Trump. And we actually saw them release another Lego video animation claiming that they killed Lindsey Graham. That is right. Now, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Did the IRGC poison Lindsey Graham on his way back from Ukraine? Now, they're saying it was very odd. 71-year-old in good health suddenly passed away on his way back. It could have been natural causes, could have been some sort of illness that just hit him very hard and he suddenly died. They said it could have been a heart attack. We're still waiting to get information as to what it was, but the IRGC is claiming that they killed Lindsey Graham. Now, we will see. I'll keep you up to date. Some people are saying the IRGC is just trying to portray strength, taking an opportunity to claim they killed somebody when they didn't. Let me know, did the IRGC kill Lindsey Graham? Now, in addition to that, like I said, we're seeing that bombs are being dropped. I'm going to get you caught up on all of it. So again, subscribe if this is your first time here, keeping you up to speed on everything. And as you guys know, here on the channel, I cite all the sources. So all the articles we're going to be taking a look at, they're hyperlinked in the description. Cite it like a book report so that way you can know and rest assured this is the latest information coming out. I cite it, show you the dates, where it's coming from, read right from it. So let's go ahead and get right to it. So this was posted today. You can see the time, 2:55 p.m. So around 3 p.m., about 5 hours ago. Donald Trump posted this July 12th today, and it was just bombers sending a simple message that bombs will be dropping today, and that is exactly what we saw coming out from 47. Now, there's video footage circulating all around social media, and like I said, it's happening as we speak. So there's just tons of footage pouring in. It's hard to verify what is new, what is old, but we're seeing that there is a lot coming in. And let me just play this one for you really quick here. As you can see, just massive bombs are dropping. The skies are lighting up over there in Tehran. Let's go ahead and take a look. Just massive fireballs coming out. And we're hearing that this is happening all throughout Tehran, that Trump is just bombing Iran to bits right now. Now, also, let's go ahead and take a look at some video footage so that way you can see the latest coming out here being released from the mainstream media as well. They're covering it. And again, just to clarify, this is not what unfolded yesterday, July the 11th. This is a whole new round of strikes that have been taking place over the course of the past couple of hours and are taking place right now as we speak. So just to clarify, we are not done, and we are seeing the IRG retaliating back as well, trying to hit various U.S. military assets in the region. I saw somebody put their hitting Jordan. Yes, just to clarify, it is popping off right now everywhere. But let's go ahead and take a look at some video footage so that way you can see the latest. This one coming out from ABC News. We're also going to be taking a look at Fox, some more ABC footage. All the media outlets are covering this New wave of attacks hitting right now.
Now to the escalation of strikes between the U.S. and Iran as both sides trying to control the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. launched yet another round of strikes. Here's ABC senior White House correspondent Selena Wang.
Tonight, the U.S.-Iran ceasefire breaking down as both sides unleash attacks in a fight to control the Strait of Hormuz. Those fresh attacks amid mixed messaging over the world's most important waterway, striking 140 military targets in Iran. Iran retaliating, targeting several Gulf nations. Jordan, Kuwait, Oman, and Qatar all intercepting incoming fire. Qatar says 3 people, including a child, were injured by shrapnel. And tonight, the U.S. launching yet another round of strikes on Iran. A U.S. official saying they're meant to degrade Iran's ability to hit commercial shipping. The U.S. blaming Iran for those continued attacks on ships in the strait. U.S. officials had expected Iran to publicly commit to stop attacking ships in the strait after weekend negotiations in Oman. But instead, Iran says it opened fire after several ships used unapproved routes and ignored warnings from its navy. And now declaring it's closing the strait until the end of American interventions in this region. But tonight, President Trump insisting the critical waterway remains open.
It's open. We bombed the hell out of them last night.
And Lindsay, President Trump is also claiming that Iran agreed to a deal during those talks in Oman yesterday, but Iran hasn't said anything about that. Instead, Iran continues to use the Strait of Hormuz as leverage in these talks. Lindsay?
Selena Wang from the...
Wow, there you have it, you guys. And we heard that, you heard Trump say, we're going to bomb the hell out of them. And it looks like that's exactly what is going on right now. And you saw all those missiles launching. There are fireball explosions that are happening all throughout Iran. I mean, he is just obliterating the IRGC right now. Looks like the Iranians, the IRGC, were playing stupid games and they're getting stupid prizes right now, pressing the patience of Donald Trump, who has been holding back, trying to go to the route of diplomacy. It looks like he's finally going along the path of Marco Rubio, who said you can't negotiate with the IRGC. They're terrorists. There's no point. We're wasting time. This is the same thing that we heard from Senator Ted Cruz as well. Let me know if you agree as well. If you think so, put bomb in the comment. Now, we still have J.D. Vance that is holding out for diplomacy and a deal. If you agree with J.D. Vance, put deal in the comments. And in fact, as I shared with you, we actually saw today when the IRGC released their hit list all throughout social media. It was posted everywhere. They had a list of all of these people they're planning to assassinate. Number 1 was Donald Trump. The last one on the list was Lindsey Graham, who was not on the list. J.D. Vance was not on the IRGC's hit list. Wow. Let me know your thoughts. A lot of people pointing that out, that he was not on there. Let me know your thoughts. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the live feeds so that way you can see the latest coming out as it is pouring in here. Let me go ahead and put this on the screen for you. 1 second. Switch it over to the live feeds. I'm seeing people putting bomb in the comments. I'm seeing somebody put no deal. There will be no deal that will be done with the IRGC. Now, give me just 1 second here. All right, there we go. A little bit of a lag. All right, I think we are good to go. You can see here, U.S.-Iran exchange fire as the IRGC claims the Strait of Hormuz closure until end of interference. U.S. Central Command says shipping was still moving after a third wave of attacks on Iran. IRGC war assets reaching 300 targets hit. 300. Now, we had heard Donald Trump say, I've got 1,000 missiles ready for you. So he's used about a third of what he said. We could see more rounds pouring in. Man, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Donald Trump not playing around today. Now, you can see here, U.S., this 3 hours ago, they officially announced it, has launched new strikes against Iran, targeting threats to ships in the Strait of Hormuz. So again, just to clarify, this not coming out yesterday. This is the latest coming out today. At 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today, U.S. Central Command forces began launching more strikes against Iran to continue degrading their ability to attack civilian mariners and commercial ships freely transiting the Strait of Hormuz. The commander-in-chief has directed the strikes to hold Iranians... Oh, 1 second here. The commander-in-chief has directed the strikes to hold Iranian forces accountable. And there you can see that coming out today. June 12th. Actually, you can't see it. Sorry, it switched me over to something else, but I've still got this on the screen for you. Hold Iranians accountable is what the rest of it read. Now, reading on, it says the U.S. military began launching additional strikes against Iranian targets early Sunday evening, according to U.S. Central Command. The agency said that President Donald Trump directed the strikes near the Strait of Hormuz in an effort to deter Iran's ability to attack commercial ships and civilian mariners. Now, at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can see this coming out here. U.S. Central Command forces began launching more strikes against Iran to continue degrading their ability to attack civilian mariners and commercial ships freely transiting the Strait of Hormuz. CENTCOM said the commander-in-chief has directed the strikes to hold Iranian forces accountable. Now, 34 minutes ago, Secret Service responds to reports of alleged Iranian assassination plot on Trump. This is the one I was telling you about. We have heard that they were planning to blow Air Force One out of the sky when Trump was returning to Turkey. Some are speculating that was the reason for the switch. However, it is not confirmed. Let's see what the update is. This coming out just 35 minutes ago. So like I said, we're getting live information pouring in on this. Some pretty interesting details to not have it confirmed. Now, the U.S. Secret Service on Sunday addressed reports of an alleged Iranian assassination plot targeting President Donald Trump during his trip to Turkey last week. The agency said that it does not confirm or comment on intelligence matters. Okay, so there you have it. Let me know your thoughts. So this is what we're hearing. Do you think that this actually happened? If you and they are not telling us. If you think so, put yes. If you think no, put no. This is very fascinating to me. The agency said it does not confirm or comment on intelligence matters. So they're saying we're not going to confirm or deny these claims, and which is exactly what I read. There's some very specific details coming out on this, but when they're asking Trump and the administration, they're just saying there was a threat. That's all we're going to tell you. Let me know your thoughts. But they emphasize that officials consume information on a global level to effectively execute our protective operations. So there could have been a major serious threat going on to President Donald Trump in Turkey, and they are not telling us. They said, we're just not going to share with you the information. Let me know your thoughts. Now, our most important responsibility is safeguarding the president and all of our protectees, a Secret Service spokesperson told Fox News. The statement came after Israeli broadcast Channel 12 reported that a Western intelligence service warned Washington of an alleged assassination plot prompting an unexpected aircraft switch ahead of Trump's trip to Turkey. In other words, they're saying, and I've read up on the details, we're going to take a look at it here in just a second, that Iran knew that Donald Trump had a new plane from Qatar that did not have the same defense capabilities as the old Air Force One. As a result, they were planning that when Donald Trump was to aboard the plane and to leave Turkey and start to head back, they were going to blow him out of the sky. Now, they are saying that as a result of that, they swapped planes and he took the old Air Force One because they had better defense systems ready to go than the new one that they had received from Qatar. Now, when they asked Donald Trump about this, he just said they're crazy, they're sick people, and he said, we just did a switch so that way people could see the different planes. They did not say or confirm the fact that they had these specific details coming out about blowing Trump out of the sky. Again, I ask, do you think that this is actually going on? If you think so, put yes, and that they're not telling us. Now, if you think no, they just wanted to switch planes. And there might have been a threat, but it wasn't that serious. Put no in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. But coming out an hour ago, Iran wants to drag the war into midterms to hurt Trump politically. We're also hearing as well. So expect that this is going to go on for quite some time. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. 2 hours ago, Iran growing more bold despite setbacks as the U.S. keeps the pressure on the regime. And again, that's exactly what we're hearing. Right now, as we speak, we're hearing fireballs are blowing up all across the skies of Tehran as the U.S. is dropping massive bombs on Iran. And they are still saying that we are going to avenge the death of the supreme leader. We're going to shed American blood on U.S. soil. We're going to assassinate Donald Trump. We're going to kill all of your troops. There will not be one that will make it back home. This is still the words of the 20% of the IRGC that remains alive. Let me know your thoughts. Now, 3 hours ago, CENTCOM rejects Iran's claims that U.S. troops were killed in Kuwait strikes. In addition to that, we are hearing reports coming out that 3 U.S. soldiers were killed Now the U.S. is denying it, saying that this is propaganda being spread by the IRGC. This is false. U.S. Central Command on Sunday pushed back on what it called Iranian propaganda claims that American service members were killed during strikes in Kuwait. Iranian propaganda claimed today that 3 American service members were killed in Kuwait by strikes from Iran, CENTCOM said in a post on X. There are 0 reports of U.S. service member deaths or injuries in the region, the agency said. Now, the statement came after Iran's state-affiliated Fars news agency reported that 3 American personnel may have been killed and several others wounded in an operation targeting U.S. high-mobility artillery rocket systems, or HIMARS, launched in Kuwait. Now, Israel schedules the first national election since October 7th Hamas attacks. And Iran claims it destroyed the U.S. HIMARS launchers in a retaliatory Kuwait strike. And again, as I mentioned to you, we're hearing that there are attacks, there are bombs being dropped all throughout the Middle East right now. The Middle East is on fire with everything that is going on. There are massive attacks taking place all throughout, fireballs, bombs being dropped. And we're hearing neither side is getting anywhere close to a peace deal agreement. We are hearing the IRGC is just still as stubborn as can be. And Donald Trump saying, we just might have to kill them. We just might have to kill all of them because they're just not coming to the table. And they're a bunch of liars. He said they're scum. And he said we can't negotiate with these people. And we can never let them have a nuclear bomb. If you agree with that and you appreciate the Trump administration, do me a favor. If you haven't done so yet, drop a 47 in the comments for support for the Trump administration. And if you haven't done so yet, please take a second, hit that thumbs up like button for me while we're live. It helps out the channel a ton. I see we got about 5,000 people on. If we can get that like button up to 2,500 if you haven't done so yet, it helps out the feed a ton. But with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at this video footage coming out as we're hearing the attacks are happening right now as we speak, July 12th, 2026.
More U.S. strikes against Iran after Tehran from President Trump and the Pentagon. CENTCOM says the strait remains open for transit, but Iran says it is closed. Mike Tobin reports live from Tel Aviv. Mike.
Hey, John, we've got indications that Iran is striking back. Kuwait confirms now several strikes from hostile aircraft at border crossings and an oil rig. The Iranian Fars news agency says what the Iranians were aiming at is U.S. missile launching hardware. Now, this follows strikes by us in Keshem Island in Iran, not confirmed by sources outside of Iran. The latest round of airstrikes was triggered by Iran firing on another commercial ship crossing the Strait of Hormuz. The ship, flagged out of Cyprus, was hit. There was a fire on board and damage to the engine room. At last report, the ship was immobile and stuck in the strait. A crew member, a man from India, is now missing. Now, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth posted, Iran made a poor choice. Now they pay. Iran has stated that the Strait of Hormuz is now closed. The U.S. says that's an international waterway open to all legal trade, and the U.S. will guarantee it. John, back to you.
Mike Tobin from Tel Aviv. Mike, thanks. Let's bring in Fox News contributor Chiron Skinner, professor of politics at Pepperdine University and a senior advisor at the Heritage Foundation. Chiron, who's running the show in Iran right now?
You know, I think that is a question that's up for dispute. But what we do know is that the Tehran regime continues to menace as many ships and other
to NATO, says that he thinks there are really two sides, if you will, in the Iranian government. One side that's doing the negotiating, and one side that's launching missiles. Listen.
I'm not going to obviously talk about the negotiations in private, but what I can tell you is that the Iranians need to get their house in order, that the folks that are shooting missiles and drones at ships need to make sure that they're coordinating with the people that are negotiating the peace deal and that they're all on the same page, because my sense is that they're not.
So does that make sense to you that because there is a leadership vacuum there, one side is saying, yeah, the Strait of Hormuz is open, and the other side is blasting ships that are trying to pass through?
Well, I really respect Ambassador Whitaker, and I think he has intelligence I don't have. But this is not inconsistent with Iranian behavior before there was regime change in the nation. There really hasn't been regime change. The Ayatollah has been taken out, but this is the kind of behavior, good cop, bad cop, and then stalling everything. And so I don't see a dramatic pipelines, whatever they could possibly do. And it's led to a kind of new regional security infrastructure that they did not anticipate. Many have said, critics of Israel, that Israel is isolated in the world. I see it differently. Tehran is isolated in the world. It's isolated in its own region. For example, the Saudis, the Turks, Egyptians, Pakistanis have come together in what's now called the R4, the Regional Four, to figure out their own security outside of Tehran being a factor. This is a new day in the region and really the world.
Kyron Skinner, Fox News contributor. Kyron.
There you have it. And it does appear that way. It seems that the IRGC has just ticked off everybody in the region. They're firing at everybody. They're firing at the UAE. They're firing all over at Jordan. They're firing at various nations. They're even firing at the ships of Qatar, which was supposed to be the mediator, the people that are supposed to be in the middle, neutral, that are going to be helping create peace between the United States and Iran. They are shooting at everybody. And they thought that they were going to be able to wreak havoc and fear all throughout the Middle East, and that people would beg the United States. I think this was their strategy. We're going to hit everybody, all of our neighbors, have them going begging the United States to stop, so that way we're not going to hit them anymore. But what actually happened, they got their strategy wrong, is that now everybody in the region's mad at them and they want to side with the United States in attacking Iran. And that's exactly what we're seeing unfolding right now. In fact, we've seen some hits on Iran that have unfolded that nobody claimed. And the United States said it wasn't us. If it was us, we would have told you. But we're hearing that various neighbors of Iran are hitting them as well. So all they have done is just made everybody in the region mad. Now they are public enemy number one, the IRGC in the Middle East. And let me know your thoughts in the comments. Should we put boots on the ground? And I've heard a lot of people opposed to it, saying we don't want to put our soldiers in harm's way. But there's a lot of people saying at this point, we're going to have to go in. We're going to have to wipe the IRGC out. We're going to have to go in, get their enriched nuclear materials. We're going to have to dilute it on the spot, move it out. Donald Trump saying there's only 2 nations in the world that have the ability to do this. And he said that's us and China. And he said, and we don't trust China whatsoever. So it's going to be the United States. Do you think we need to put the boots on the ground? If you think so, put yes. If you think no, put no. I saw a lot of people saying before, I don't want to see boots on the ground. But at this point, I think this is the direction we got to go, because we are not going the route of diplomacy whatsoever. We're going to need to get troops in there. That means that this is going to become a longer term war. This is going to stretch out. Things are going to escalate. And it looks like that is exactly the direction that we're going. And today, as we speak, we are seeing bombs dropped on Iran. We are seeing fireballs happening. Trump said, I'm bombing the hell out of them. That's exactly what he's doing. A couple of hours ago, like I said, without a caption, he just posted pictures of those B-2 bombers flying over the Washington Monument. And then we saw massive strikes take place on Iran, and they're happening right now. We're hearing that they're hitting back and forth right now. Things are lighting up in the Middle East. But let's go ahead and take a look at some more of the live feeds so that way you can see it for yourself. I've got more video footage for you too. And like I said, we're going to get to the details of the assassination plot. Details coming out that we're hearing the administration is neither confirming nor denying. Now, live feeds, Middle East crisis, U.S. launches a new wave of Tehran says attacks render diplomacy futile. So in other words, there will be no peace. There will be no deal. We're just going to see attacks unfold. Iran has sought to establish a permanent system for collecting fees in the Strait of Hormuz and warned vessels not to sail without their authorization. Now, you can see here 4 minutes ago, sirens in Bahrain. So like I said, as we speak right now live, bombs are being dropped. Fireballs are being blown up all throughout the Middle East. Attacks are happening. Sirens have sounded in Bahrain, according to the country's interior ministry. Let's see what else we got here. 28 minutes ago, a comment on the reported fatality in southwestern Iran. Following the attack of the American enemy on Monday morning, one person was martyred and 4 others were injured. Official news agency IRNA has reported, citing Khuzestan province's deputy governor for security and law enforcement. So again, like I said, bombs are dropping right now as we are live. 1 hour ago, one person has been killed and 4 wounded in a U.S. strike on a water pumping station in Iran's Mashhad. Iranian state media IRNA News is reporting. Oil prices opened sharply higher on Monday after the United States launched a wave of attacks on Iran. And as Tehran announced that it would close the Strait of Hormuz, a barrel of international benchmark Brent crude for September delivery rose 3.75% to $78.86 $78.86 at around 22:10 GMT on Sunday. U.S. benchmark West Texas Intermediate rose 3.65% to $74.02 per barrel for August delivery. 2 hours ago, strikes over the weekend have had wider regional implications. And as we heard, they're just ticking everybody off in the Middle East right now. Qatar, which has previously said that it would not act as a mediator so long as it was under attack, said 3 people, including a child, had been injured by falling shrapnel. It said that Iran was fully legally responsible for the attack. So Qatar, trying to be a mediator in this, trying to be neutral, now saying, Iran, you're ticking us off, and we are not going to be a mediator or be neutral in this if you're shooting at us. The UAE said that it detected missile threats outside of its border, while Bahrain said that it intercepted several Iranian aerial attacks. Jordan reported missile strikes, and Oman reported being targeted with drones as well. Oman, another one that was supposed to be a mediator. Iran is shooting at them. Kuwait's army later reported damage from strikes and said an attack on an oil drilling platform injured a worker. Oman said that it had summoned Iran's ambassador to protest over drone attacks in the 2 regions, and the U.S. Embassy in Oman told its nationals in Duqm and Mossadam to shelter in place. 2 hours ago, Iran's foreign ministry has condemned the aggressive U.S. attacks on Iran. And like I said, we were seeing fireballs exploding throughout Iran. In a statement, the ministry also said that talks between Iran and Oman on Saturday in Muscat focused on arrangements for managing the strait and transit routes. They were unable to reach a result because of an overt and covert U.S. pressure on Oman. Now, in the past week, Trump has said that he considers the ceasefire over, while leaving the door open to more talks. Iran's top negotiator, Mohammad Bakir Ghalibaf, posted on X on Sunday, the era of a one-sided deal is over. We told you, keep your word or pay the price. Reality is knocking. So again, the rhetoric coming out from the IRGC, they are not backing down whatsoever, and they're getting blown to bits. We're hearing only about 20% of the IRGC remains, but they are still as stubborn as ever, saying they are not backing down and that they are just going to continue. And they're saying one-sided talks, the era of one-sided talks is over. They're saying they're ready for war. But man, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at some more video footage coming out with updates as we're hearing bombs are dropping all throughout the region. And it looks like we're just going to see things continue to escalate. Let's go ahead and take a look at some more video footage updates.
Welcome back and live now from Fox. I'm your host, Hannah Marsick. We do have some breaking news to get to as the United States has launched a new round of strikes against Iran. We have this post coming from U.S. Central Command. At 5 p.m. Eastern time today, U.S. Central Command forces began launching more strikes against Iran to continue degrading their ability to attack civilian mariners and commercial ships freely transiting the Strait of Hormuz. The commander-in-chief has directed conducted the strikes to hold Iranian forces accountable. This breaking news just coming in moments ago, and the Associated Press is reporting that the United States attacked Iran today over an Iranian strike on a container ship in the Strait of Hormuz that set it ablaze and left a crew member missing. Iran responded with attacks on Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, Jordan, and Oman, the nation on the other side of the strait that Tehran had pressed to collaborate in managing ship traffic. That was the latest update there coming from the Associated Press. And the New York Times is reporting that the United States conducted this fresh round of strikes on Iranian targets on Sunday, according to a U.S. official, extending a pattern of attacks between the two sides as their fragile ceasefire continued to unravel. Iranian state media reporting explosions on an island in the Strait of Hormuz, which is, of course, an economically vital waterway at the center of this tug-of-war between the two countries that we've been seeing. The United States official, who was not authorized to speak publicly, saying the strikes were intended to degrade Iran's ability to target commercial shipping in the strait, where an Iranian attack on a container ship on Saturday set off the latest exchange of fire. Then Sunday's strikes appearing to be less intense than the U.S. barrage on Saturday, which Iran responded to by firing on U.S.-allied Persian Gulf Arab states. This back and forth of attacks have been played out over nearly a week now, driven by that dispute there over the Strait of Hormuz, where the United States has repeatedly accused Iran of attacking commercial vessels. Iran had not claimed responsibility for any attacks until Saturday, according to the New York Times, when it said it had fired on a container ship that tried to use an unapproved route there through the strait. Iran also declaring that the waterway through which roughly 20% of the world's oil supply passed before the war was closed. President Trump insisting today that the strait was open to shipping traffic, adding that the U.S. had bombed the hell out of Iran last night, according to the president, who also suggested that the two sides had been close to a deal over the weekend before that attack on the ship, but then offered no details. The New York Times goes on to report that Iran has not said that it had agreed to any new deal, and that President Trump had often made unsubstantiated claims about the war. The White House not immediately responding to a request for comments on President Trump's remarks. President Trump's administration also saying that the truce that was struck last month would fully lift Tehran's blockade of the strait, but Iran had insisted that all ships transiting the waterway traveled through that water as it seeks to use the leverage in the peace talks. Washington has demanded that Tehran abandon that claim and allow the free movement of commercial vessels. But once again, the latest update is that the U.S. has launched a new round of strikes there against Iran. We'll, of course, continue to update you as we get more news into our newsroom.
There you have it, you guys. So we are hearing that that is happening right now. And man, those attacks are unfolding as we speak. Now, in addition to that, let me know your thoughts. Are you concerned about the threat of potential attacks on U.S. soil? We heard Iran say that now the ceasefire, all of that stuff, it is rendered futile. They said it's of no use. We are not going to have diplomacy. We are only going to continue to have war. Now, this comes as we saw the IRGC no longer adhere to that deadline. So just to recap for you guys, what we anticipated was there was vessels that were hit last week. The United States responded with attacks for those vessels that were hit by the IRGC. IRGC came out and said that there was some rogue individuals in our army. We did not authorize that attack. We didn't want it to happen. Donald Trump said, okay, I need a statement from you denouncing these attacks and saying officially the Strait of Hormuz will be open. He said, you have until Saturday to get this done. Well, guess what? Not only did they not meet the deadline, they did not make that denouncement, but they actually announced the Strait of Hormuz closed, and then they attacked ships again yesterday. And that's when we saw those attacks unfold. And now we're seeing them continue on. Donald Trump saying, I will hit you 20 times harder. For every one hit that you make, I'm going to drop 20 bombs in response. So we're hearing that things have only escalated. Now, the IRGC is threatening to attack U.S. soil and to assassinate Donald Trump. Are you concerned about the threat of potential attacks on U.S. soil? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And let's go ahead and take a look at this here as we're getting updates, warnings coming out literally today, reminders of the potential attacks that could be on the way. Now, I shared this with you just the other day as we received these renewed reminders as a result of them saying that the war is escalating. Iranian drones are in Cuba. They could threaten South Florida, officials have warned, but they're saying that this swarm of 300 drones that they know of, these Shahed kamikaze drones, there's a swarm of them that could reach all the way to New York if they so choose. Is this concerning to you as we're hearing the IRGC saying that they want to shed American blood on American soil, that this is what's required to avenge the supreme leader, and they're also calling for the death of Donald Trump? Is this concerning to you? Yes or no? Drop it in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. Iranian drones in Cuba could threaten former Florida Governor Jeb Bush, chairman of the advocacy group United Against Nuclear Iran, joined U.S. Representative Carlos Jimenez from Florida to highlight concerns about what they say are roughly 300 Iranian drones that have been delivered to Cuba. So Iran and Cuba working together for a potential kamikaze attack. An Iranian-made drone displayed at the Baltimore Hotel served as a stark warning for national security advocates and South Florida officials who say Cuba's growing military ties with Iran could pose a threat to the United States. Former Florida Governor Jeb Bush, chairman of the advocacy group, he joined U.S. Representative Carlos Jimenez of Florida to highlight concerns about what they say are roughly 300 Iranian drones that have been delivered to Cuba. Standing alongside one of the drones, Bush described the weapons as among the deadliest battlefield threats faced by American forces in recent years. Most loss of life of the U.S. military than any single weapon that exists over the last 15 years, he is saying, is as a result of drones. This is the latest warfare, they're saying, that is effective against the United States. Now, we're hearing we can shoot a lot of these down, but if they send a swarm, if they overwhelm our defenses, we can't get them all. And that is the concern, is if they launch them all at once and they have destinations set, GPS destinations, they're using AI to maneuver through, that they said that this could overwhelm and that there could be devastation on U.S. soil. Now, Jimenez warned that the drones' capabilities make them particularly concerning because of their ability to carry significant explosive payloads over long distances. So these drones, they have explosive devices on them, and they're about the size of cars, roughly. These are massive drones flying through the air. This particular model, there is about over 100 pounds of explosives that they can carry, Jimenez said. That's a pretty big bang, and that's why they call them kamikaze drones. They crash into their targets and they explode. Now, according to Jimenez, the drones can reach speeds of about 115 miles per hour and travel more than 1,000 miles, placing South Florida well within the range. He said that the aircraft could also reach the U.S. naval base at Guantanamo Bay and other cities throughout the southeastern United States, including Tallahassee and Atlanta. We've even heard warnings for as far as New York. Now, the congressman said that one of the primary concerns is the potential for Iran-style drone warfare tactics, in which large numbers of drones are launched simultaneously to overwhelm air defense systems. While the United States has sophisticated defense system capabilities of intercepting incoming drones, Jimenez noted that a successful strike may require only one or a handful of aircraft to penetrate those defenses. The event was organized by the United Against Nuclear Iran, which has sought to draw attention to expanding military and strategic cooperation between Iran and the countries aligned with its interests, including Cuba. Supporters of the group's efforts say that the growing presence of Iranian military technology in the Western Hemisphere warrants increased attention from policymakers and defense officials. Now, for South Florida residents, the warning underscores the region's proximity to Cuba and the continuing role that the island nation plays in broader geopolitical tensions involving the United States and its adversaries as well. And again, let me know your thoughts. Are you concerned about the potential threat of drone attacks on U.S. soil? They're saying they want to wreak devastation on the U.S. You can see here coming out in the last 24 hours, Iran's supreme leader pledges revenge for his slain father and predecessor. And we're hearing the IRGC hardliners are saying that they want this to happen on U.S. soil. Now, a written statement from Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Mustafa Khamenei, threatened vengeance for the death of his predecessor and father on Saturday, but added that it would depend not only on Iran, but also on free people around the world. And again, he called for all of those freedom fighters, which here in the United States, we call them Hezbollah, Hamas, Houthis, terrorist proxy groups of Iran. Now, in the Supreme Leader's first public message since the funeral ceremonies for his father, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, began a week ago, the statement read on state television. It said that vengeance was the demand of the nation and must certainly take place. Now, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was killed in a U.S.-Israeli airstrike on February 28th at the start of the war. We pledge to avenge the blood of the martyred leader and all the martyrs of these two wars from the criminal and disgraced killers, the statement said. Mojtaba Khamenei, who senior sources have said suffered facial disfigurement and other injuries in the strike, has not been seen by Iranians since he was appointed supreme leader on March 8th. Now, whether we are there or not, this will be accomplished. So again, he is saying whether it is coming from him or somebody else, there will be vengeance. Now, and soon, every free person around the world will fulfill a part in the divine mission, he said in the statement. So again, the divine mission to essentially avenge the blood of the dead supreme leader, he is saying it will be fulfilled one way or another by any free person. An exchange of attacks between the United States and Iranian forces this week has raised doubts over a truce agreed between the United States and Iran aimed at ending the 4-month war. Iran says that the deal will ultimately deliver major economic benefits. Now, despite the recent flare-up, U.S. President Donald Trump, while declaring that the ceasefire was over, said on Friday that the two countries had agreed to continue the talks. Mojtaba Khamenei's continued absence from the public eye. There has been no photo, video, or audio recording of him published since the air attack, has added to the uncertainties facing Iran, with some Iranians saying the new leader must be seen even if he is injured. He became supreme leader with the backing of the powerful IRGC. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who ruled for 37 years, was buried in the country's holiest shrine, state media said on Friday, after huge crowds gathered for his funeral. And I shared with you the video footage, the articles, the information that came out as they shouted death to Donald Trump. They shouted death to Lindsey Graham, death to Laura Loomer, death to Ben Shapiro. They now shouted death to all of these conservative individuals that were supporters of the United States and of Israel. And they are saying there will be no peace. It is futile. They rendered this futile. And as you can see, potential attacks, warnings for U.S. soil being hit. Now, Trump warns also that if they try to assassinate him, he will decimate and destroy Iran, which actually we're seeing him do right now as we speak. Now, we're going to get to just in a second here the details of the warnings coming out. But let's go ahead and take a look here at some more information as we saw Iran's supreme leader call for revenge on the United States. And again, let me know your thoughts. Are you concerned about this? Are you concerned about the IRGC taking revenge on U.S. soil or assassinating Donald Trump or on our troops? If you think so, yes, this is concerning. Drop yes in the comments. If you think no, we're probably going to wipe them out before they can do anything. Put no in the comments. But we're hearing that bombs are being dropped right now as we speak. But let's take a look at some more updates here so that way you can see the latest as we're hearing that the war is raging on and the supreme leader, he is still vowing that they're going to have revenge on us. Let's go ahead and take a look at the latest so that way you can see it for yourself.
Overnight, the U.S. striking Iran in retaliation after Iran attacked a container ship in the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. military saying it's imposing a heavy cost by continuing to degrade Iran's ability to attack civilian mariners and commercial ships freely transiting the strait, adding that U.S. forces hit approximately 140 Iranian military targets, including Iranian missile and drone sites, naval capabilities, ammunition storage facilities, communication networks, and coastal surveillance locations. Secretary Pete Hegseth posting, Iran made a poor choice. Now they pay. Iran then saying it hit back, targeting U.S. assets across the Middle East. Iran had said it fired after several ships used unapproved routes and ignored warnings from its Navy, now declaring it's closing the strait until the end of American interventions in this region and warning it will meet any retaliation with a severe response. It comes as Iran's supreme leader pledges revenge for his father's killing, vowing in a statement broadcast on state TV, "Revenge is the demand of our nation and must certainly be carried out." That warning just hours after President Trump threatened to decimate Iran if it tries to kill him, posting 1,000 missiles are locked and loaded and aimed at Iran, with thousands more to immediately follow if Iran acts on its threat to assassinate or attempt to assassinate him. Adding orders have already been given, and the U.S. military is ready, willing, and able to completely decimate and destroy all areas of Iran. Trump's post coming after reports this week that Israel allegedly shared new intelligence to the U.S. about a plot against him, and Trump himself has said he's a top target.
I'm number one on the kill list for Iran.
And yet talks had continued, even after the U.S. and Iran traded fire all week. Iran's foreign minister met with his Omani counterpart on Saturday in Oman. Iran state media says they discussed the safe passage of ships through the Strait of Hormuz and Oman's position on the use of diplomacy to prevent the escalation of tension in the region.
So before these latest strikes, U.S. officials were actually optimistic about talks. In fact, a senior U.S. official said on Friday that the Iranians had privately told President Trump's advisors they screwed up and made a mistake in shooting at those ships. But now, Rhiannon, the fighting has resumed.
That's right, you guys. We heard him say, "I want to hear you publicly announce this." In other words, Donald Trump saying, "I want an apology for the world to hear. I need to have it Saturday. That's your deadline." They did not get it, but we're hearing that privately. They had said this was a mistake. This was some rogue individuals in our military that took it upon themselves to do this attack. We didn't want that to happen. Now, Donald Trump said, listen, I need to have it heard. They did not say it. In fact, they attacked more ships, and they have vowed to kill him and to avenge the death of the supreme leader. Man, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Now, in addition to that, they're specifically calling out to assassinate Donald Trump. He's number one on the list. You saw that on the video footage. And we're actually hearing Donald Trump say, "I got 1,000 missiles pointed at you." And we're hearing that there was a specific threat when he was in Turkey, that they said that they wanted to shoot his Air Force One plane out of the sky. And that's why we saw a plane switch. And we're hearing a lot of rumors about this and a lot of specific details. And again, let me know your thoughts. We just read that the Secret Service said that they would not comment on the situation. They would not give specific details. Man, let me know your thoughts. It sounds like there was something potentially going on there. They're not confirming or denying it. But let's go ahead and take a look at some more information coming out here. We're hearing that the United States was tipped off by Israel, that had received the intelligence that there was an assassination plot to take out Donald Trump while he was visiting NATO in Turkey. Now, you can see here, Israel reportedly warned the United States that Iran devised a new plot to assassinate Donald Trump. Wall Street Journal says Israeli intelligence indicated a new plan in development. U.S. officials tell Channel 12 warning was more general, appeared to attempt to smooth ties between Trump and Netanyahu. So again, we are getting a lot of detailed information, but then we're also hearing from the White House, no, it was just a very general warning that came out that there was a potential threat. So the question is, do you buy that? And do you think that this actually happened? There was a specific threat, or do you think it was a general threat? Let me know in the comments. Was it specific or general? The White House is claiming it was general, but there's a lot of specific details coming out on this. Let's take a look here. Israel has shared intelligence with the United States about Iranian plan to kill the U.S. President Donald Trump, according to reports coming out on Thursday. Individuals familiar with the matter told the Wall Street Journal that Israeli intelligence indicated a new plot was in development to assassinate the U.S. president. It was unclear from the reports when the intelligence was relayed or through what channels. Now, the newspaper noted that Iran has been publicly pledging to assassinate Trump since the U.S. killed Iranian IRGC Quad Force General Qasem Soleimani back in 2020, with calls for the United States president's death featuring prominently in the ongoing mourning ceremonies for the slain Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. However, 2 U.S. officials told Channel 12 News that the information related to general dialogue between Iranian officials and potentially assassinating the U.S. president rather than a specific plot. So they're saying, listen, it was just general. We're just using an abundance of caution. Now, the officials said that they believe that Israel gave the information to the United States to improve ties between Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Trump and to try to influence Washington's policies on Iran. But take a look at these banners that we saw at that ceremony. Massive, calling for the assassination of Donald Trump. Donald Trump saying, we won't attack for the duration of the ceremonies so that way you can have time to mourn your supreme leader. He said, isn't that nice of me? And while he allowed that, they used the ceremonies at that time every single day to shout for assassinations of Donald Trump. Let's go ahead and take a look here. One of the officials noted that Israel had given similar information over plans by Iran and Iran-linked terror groups over the past year. Trump, who has faced several assassination attempts, including the 2024 shooting in which the bullet grazed his ear, this week he referred to the threats against him, saying, I'm on every list. I saw this morning, I'm on every single one of their lists. And so far, I guess I've been a little bit lucky, but that's maybe doesn't last very long. So Donald Trump acknowledging they're trying to take him out and they might be successful in the future. Now, amid the fears of an assassination attempt, Trump unexpectedly left Turkey this week aboard an older Air Force One rather than the newly renovated Qatari donated jet that brought him there. The New York Times reported that this was done at the recommendation of the U.S. Secret Service as a security precaution. So they're saying it was a security precaution. Now, we heard from Donald Trump that people wanted to see the plane. We're getting some mixed information here. Some reports are coming in that the reason why was because the defense systems of the new Qatari jet that they had received, it was not the same as the old Air Force One that they have, and that they needed it because there was a threat to shoot them out of the sky while they were going to leave Turkey. Now, citing unnamed sources briefed on the matter, reports said that the plane switch was a precaution and wasn't prompted by a concrete threat. So again, we're getting mixed information here. The trip to Turkey for the NATO summit, the first international travel for the new plane, took place as hostilities escalated with Iran, a country that borders Turkey. Trump later boarded the new plane in Britain for the flight to Washington. Now, the unexpected plane switch followed months of scrutiny over the luxury gift intended to serve as a temporary replacement while Boeing struggles to deliver long-delayed next-generation Air Force One planes. Critics have questioned the cost, security, and the pace of the retrofit. Trump said on True Social that he would use an older baby blue Air Force One plane for old time's sake to fly from Turkey to the RFA Middleton Hall in Britain while the new plane stopped at the same base so U.S. service members stationed there could tour the aircraft. The U.S. president denied that the switch was due to security concerns. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Now, let's take a look at some more detail coming out here. Did a security scare make Donald Trump switch planes on the way back from NATO? The switch sparked speculation about possible security concerns, with reports suggesting the Qatar-gifted plane lacked some security features. Now, this article says U.S. President Donald Trump boarded the Boeing 747, a newly gifted aircraft by Qatar, as he began his journey to Turkey for the NATO summit on July 7th. However, he unexpectedly left Turkey on Wednesday aboard the older baby blue Air Force One instead of returning on that same aircraft. So airplane switch. Now, the switch sparked speculation about possible security concerns, with reports suggesting the Qatar-gifted plane lacked some security features, particularly as the U.S. launched fresh strikes against Iran, which borders Turkey, the AFP reported. Trump denies there was a security concern claim. So Trump, however, firmly denies that the security concerns had anything to do with the decision to use the older Air Force One for the return journey. According to the U.S. president, the new aircraft had been sent ahead to RAF Middleton Hall in the UK, so American service members stationed there could view it while he was returning from Turkey. In a post on True Social, Trump wrote, "We just landed and met up with our new Air Force One, which was sent earlier to RAF Middleton. How we could show the wonderful service members as per the entire base's request. They were very excited. The pictures enclosed. It was on our way back to the States from Turkey with virtually no deviation of the flight. So Donald Trump claiming it was not a security concern. Later, while speaking to reporters aboard Air Force One, Trump was directly asked, "So you're saying that there wasn't a security concern?" The U.S. president dismissed the suggestion, replying, No, why would there be? We sent it a little bit early so that way we could let them see it. The whole base came out and saw the plane, and then we landed," Trump said while speaking to reporters aboard Air Force One. Now, Trump said that he chose to fly abroad the older Air Force One for old time's sake from Turkey to RFA Millennium. Now, while the new aircraft had already arrived at the base so U.S. service members stationed there could tour it, Reuters reported. Both the aircrafts met at the British base where Trump boarded the new plane for the flight to Washington. Now, behind closed blinds order on the plane. Now, the president was also asked why he and reporters, they had been instructed to close the window shades in the press cabin during the flight from Turkey to the UK. Responding to the question, Trump said, you're probably on a dangerous flight because of the sleazeballs that we have to deal with. The Iranians, they are sick people. So that was another concern, was that they said that they had heard that they were instructed to close the shades of the plane while they were aboard Air Force One. They didn't ask me to close mine, but if they did, I would have done it, he said. These are sick people, so I could see something like that. I didn't know they did that. Trump also claimed that he faces credible threats from Iran all the time, but stopped short of confirming whether there had been any renewed threats on Wednesday, according to CNN. Speaking to reporters, Trump said, "I'm number one on their list before you," referring to members of the media. "But if I go, you go," he quipped. So there you have it, you guys. We are hearing that Iran looking to assassinate Donald Trump. Now, they're saying that it might have been a general call for an abundance of precaution, or it might have been specific. Now, let me know your thoughts in the comments. And like I said, there's been a lot unfolding here. We're hearing that bombs are dropping on Iran right now. Iran is firing back. We're seeing missiles, explosions, fireballs as we speak today, July 12th, 2026. It's currently 9:25 p.m. Central Standard Time here in Houston, Texas. We're hearing the Middle East is getting lit up. But let's take a look at some more updates because, like I said, there has been a lot unfolding today. Lindsey Graham passing overnight. We're still waiting to see what the confirmed cause of that passing was. We're hearing that Donald Trump released that image of the bombers on their way, and now we're seeing explosions taking place, and it looks like there is no glimmer of hope for peace at this point. It looks like we're going to be seeing some all-out escalation into massive war, and it looks like it's happening right now. But let's take a look at some more video footage, getting you caught up, because like I said, a lot happening today. Let's go ahead and take a look. A whole lot happening today. We're seeing the warnings coming out of threats of attacks on U.S. soil with those Shahed kamikaze drones, Iranian drones stationed in Cuba. 300 of them, they're saying, could overwhelm U.S. defenses and cause a lot of devastation on U.S. soil. Iran saying that this is not over, that they're going to attack and they're going to hit us and hit us back hard. Right now, we're seeing bombs dropped as we speak by the United States on Iran. And we saw overnight Lindsey Graham pass as well. And we've seen throughout the funeral processions for the former Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei shouts and chants for death to America, death to Israel, and calls for the assassination of Donald Trump. So there has been a lot going on, and it looks like things are just simply going to be escalating even further. It doesn't look like it's slowing down at all whatsoever. So for those of you that have been saying that we're going to have more war, it looks like you were right. Now, as I mentioned to you, I'm going to continue to keep you up to date every step of the way. As we get more information, I'll be sure to share it as soon as it comes in with the breaking news. So if you have not done so yet and you want to stay up to date, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Turn that notification bell on to all. Know that I'm on here pretty much every single day bringing you the news. And as you guys know, if you haven't done so yet, hit the like button. I see we got about 5,000 people in the room. I can't see where the like button's at because I'm on a streaming platform. But if it's not over, 3,000, do me a favor, hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. And as you guys know, I want to verify and cite all the sources for you, make sure that it's the latest, most accurate information. I cite it in the description like a book report, so you can see exactly the dates, where it's coming from, know and rest assured this is the latest. In fact, yesterday, we had the live information coming in that the attacks were unfolding as it was live, but I did not want to report it quite yet because I wanted to verify it. So I hopped off, did some research, hopped back on when I could cite it, get the latest information, and make sure it was verified. So as you know, here on the channel, I try to make sure that I have the highest level of accountability so you can know and rest assured this is the latest information. So that is what we've got so far. I'm seeing people saying we got 3,500 likes. That is awesome. Thank you guys so much for the support. I appreciate it a ton. Also, I saw a super chat. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate that support a ton. But I'll continue to keep you guys up to date. Stay tuned to the channel. Subscribe. It's totally free. Hit the like button because I got a feeling there's going to be a whole lot more coming out here. And it looks like this war might be drawing out a lot longer than we anticipated. We will see. Donald Trump saying, I'm going to bomb the hell out of them. This is not going to last long. We will see, because it looks like he is doing that tonight. So I'll keep you guys up to speed. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care. God bless. I'll catch you in the next one. This is Steve.